Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm AndyRC and today I'm going to be taking a look at the FIMI X8 SE. This is a folding 4K aerial photography quadcopter, and because of that this video is going to be in 4K. So if you want to go to the bottom corner and change the resolution to 4K, if your device can handle that, then go ahead. And I'm really excited about this one because for the last 2 years or so, the Xiaomi Mi 4K quadcopter kind of broke the mold in terms of price when it came to these things. And FIMI is just an offshoot of Xiaomi. I think they just needed to change the name to separate their other products out to avoid confusion. Now, when the Mi 4K came out, there were no competitors in terms of price when it came to what you got for your money. I mean, if you look back at my review, I had the P4, which I think I paid 1,400 GBP for it. And then the Mavic came along, and that wasn't that much cheaper. And then we had the Mi 4K costing 388 GBP, which at the making of this video, I think is the price of this one, which equates to about $500, I think. The thing is, though, times have changed a little bit, especially in the folding aerial photography game. For example, the Mavic is in its second iteration now, and you can buy its predecessor for much cheaper. Although in this country, at least, I couldn't find a first-generation Mavic for less than $300 or 235 GBP more than the price of a brand new FIMI X8. But then we've also got the Parrot Anafi, which I'm yet to review, but I do have one, and it's only 80 GBP more than this guy. In particular shops, I should say. I found other shops where it's, $200 more, etc. And of course, if you aren't too fussed about the folding aspect and portability of the quadcopter, then the Mi 4K is still cheaper than the X8, and technically it's got more sensors with a wider field of view on the camera, and it's also got a removable gimbal, so you can use a handheld gimbal accessory that they sell. Anyways, let's take a look at what you get in the package, and I'll make further comparisons down the line. So you might notice that my box says pre-production sample on it. Now, I'm not sure how people are claiming that they have got a full production version, because this was sent direct to me by FIMI, and there are other videos out there already. I think perhaps somebody got hold of some and maybe started selling them and just tore the label off. But as this is a pre-production sample, then I expect things to change. However, we are a few days away from the release date as far as I'm aware. So let's see what you get in the package. So I'm just going to lift the lid up there, and we have got some manuals. I think one is on LiPo safety and the other is sort of like a quick start guide. So let's take a look at the copter itself. It looks really neat. It doesn't have the propellers on it out of the box, but straight away I've got the first generation Mavic here, and I would say it's just a little bit bigger, I think, than the first Mavic, but it's very similar. So let me get the orientation right so that you can see. So we do not have a gimbal protector. It's just got this foam thing. That could change, but my version has come with a piece of foam. However, it does look like the camera is mounted in an unfragile way. When you take the cover off the Mavic, the camera just sort of dangles on rubber bands, and we've got 2 grommets here. It looks like we've got some metal pieces, and we've got more grommets up the top here as well, so maybe it will fare better in a crash. So the underneath, we've got this big heatsink here. However, what's interesting, if we take a look at the Mavic, we've got some air vents at the front, and we don't seem to have that here, so perhaps this heatsink is enough. And we do have some holes coming out of the back as well, because there's going to be a lot of heat generated in here from all of the processing. So staying on the underneath, you can see we have a optical flow camera, just one. So again, I hate to compare it, but we've got two cameras on the Mavic, and we've got two ultrasonic sensors, so that is for the height. So it might just be the case that many aren't needed, so we'll have to see how it performs in flight, and I guess I could do a comparison against this guy in another video. So if we look at it from the front, we've got this, what looks like would be full of sensors. However, this is the SE version and there's no sensors in this, so no obstacle avoidance. Now, that could be seen as a good thing or a bad thing. Personally, I'm not sure we should be relying on obstacle avoidance. We should learn to fly properly. However, in certain situations, if you're trying to get that perfect shot, then object avoidance, even for an experienced flyer, could be useful. So to unfold the arms, we have to start at the back of the copter, and these are actually the front arms, and there's a definite click when those go out fully, and then we have got the back ones, and we have got a click there as well, which reveals the battery. So I can just press on both sides and the battery should lift out. So it's a bigger battery than the Mavic, so it's 4,500 milliamp against this one, which I think is 3,830 milliamp. So we may be looking at a longer flight time than the first generation Mavic, and that just slots in there. The one thing I will say, though, is that I don't think it's a smart battery, in that DJI, after a few days, you can select in the options for it to discharge itself. I don't think we have that with this. But, you know, we're not really comparing apples for apples when it comes to the price. There's also no information at the making of this video on how much replacement batteries are going to be for the X8. However, I imagine it's going to be considerably lower than the DJI smart batteries. So if you press this once, you will see the charge of your battery. I've actually opened this one and fully charged it already. And then if we look on the side, we've got a little rubber pull-out, and it's a little bit tricky to get to actually, especially if you have cut your nails. Come on, I don't want to damage it really. Jump cut! Okay, so we've got the micro SD card slot. They recommend a class 10 U3, and it'll take up to a 64 gigabyte. And then we've got a USB cable here. I guess that is for updating the firmware. And then we have got a little slider here, and it is for Wi-Fi control or using the controller. So I guess you can control this guy just from your phone if you like, but I'm not sure I'd recommend that. And I'm not sure what this button is here. It doesn't detail it in the manual, but it's probably a reset button, I would imagine, if something gets bricked. So let's take a look what else you get in the box. We've got the controller here, and the design is very similar to the FIMI A3. By the way, if you are wondering about that copter, I received it and my camera was fogging up in the cold. They say they are going to send another one, and they've fixed that issue for the customer version. So we've got two antennas here, and according to the manual, everything runs on 5.8 gigahertz, and you can see we don't have any sticks here. They are hidden down here, and I think I'm gonna really like this controller because I find the Mavic controller really clumsy to get your phone into. It's just so unintuitive, I find, and I have to take the case off my phone in order to put it in. Of course, DJI fans will say, oh, well, you can buy adapters and things like that. I also don't like the battery life of this thing as well. It runs out of battery so quickly. Speaking of batteries, this has an internal one. It is a 3000 milliamp, 3.7 volt, so 1 cell battery, and it charges via a USB cable at the bottom there, and then this is the USB out to your phone. So yeah, we've got like a soft touch material here. We've got the on button here, and a short press of that will tell you how much it is charged. It takes 4 hours to charge this battery in here, and it's going to be the one touch and then long touch to turn this on. Then we have got the return to home button here, and we have got a take off and land button here. I think you have to long press that for 3 seconds for that to work. We've also got a joystick, which is same as the A3. However, we don't have an interface, so I wonder if that is going to work on the phone. I'll have to try that out. So the first thing that I'm going to do is take these out of here and obviously screw them in. They do look very similar to the A3 sticks, which I really liked, and I think my phone is going to fit in here without having to remove the case, which I really like. Yeah, so that's cool. And we've got a little cutout here as well for the USB leads, which I'll show you in a minute, and I really like that idea as well. So that's both of the sticks installed. They just screw in, and as I mentioned in my A3 review, they are great for pinchers because we've got this rubberized material here to stop you slipping, and great for thumbers because we have got this grip on the top as well. So I really like it, and it's got a real nice feel to it. So if we look on the underside, we have got this B button here, and that will start video recording. And then the A button is to take a photo. Now you're probably wondering, can you take a photo whilst recording at the same time? And the answer is you can, however, only up to 1080p. So if you're recording in 4K and want to take a photo, then you will have to stop it. But 1080p, you can press the A button here and it'll take a screen grab. It also does JPEG and RAW at the same time. Then we've got these two dials here. One clicks and just moves indefinitely, so you can have your exposure value / ISO on there, and then this is the gimbal controls. So that's the controller. So what have we got left? Well, we have got some propellers, obviously, which need to go on. So we've got 3 propellers there. And then we've got the battery charger. So if I take the battery off the copter, now it should take 2 hours to charge the battery, which isn't too bad. So it comes with a adapter here, so I'm gonna have to use a UK adapter so that I can charge that up, but that's not a problem. So that fits into there like that. That goes into your wall, and then that fits onto your battery only one way, so you can't mess it up. Then lastly, we have got all of the cables that you need. So we've got Apple, we've got USB-C, and then we've got USB micro B. Okay, so everything has gone together and I can just about get it all in shot. The propellers are really easy to install. So we have got a line marked on one arm, and then there's a line marked on that propeller, and then the other side has no line, so that is the same throughout all of them. And to get the propeller off, it is just a push down and twist, and then back on, push down and twist, so nothing can go wrong there. I really like the way that they have dealt with how your phone or tablet fits in here. Now I've measured the stretch, and it stretches up to 208 millimeters if you're interested. This is the Pixel XL2, and it fits in here no problem, and I absolutely love the way they have dealt with the cabling compared to the awkward DJI system. Now, there's not much clearance for the camera when the copter is sat on the ground, and that is the case for all of these folding copters, so I'm going to be using a takeoff and landing mat when I do the flight. But I've put it on this box because I want to show you the app. So it's called the FIMI Navi app. It's separate to the Mi app, and you can get it from the Android store or the iOS app store. Okay, so let's take a look at the app. First, I'm going to turn on the controller, so it's a short press and then a long press, and we should get some beeps, hopefully. So that's flashing now, looking for a connection. Then it's going to be a short and then a long press to turn on the copter. I've got a micro SD card in there, and then I'm going to go into the FIMI Navi app. Now you do have to create an account and log in, which I've already done. So I'm going to enter the device, and it says disconnected at the moment. So let's see if it makes a connection itself, or if I have to do the startup sequence in a different way. So nothing coming through at the moment. Have I got access to the controls? So I can see the gimbal moving, but actually nothing's happening with the app. Wonder what happens if I just disconnect the USB at the bottom and then just reconnect that and see if that does anything. What's this saying? Firmware upgrade. Please update new firmware. Update now. Start updating. So yeah, we've got a firmware update for this guy already, which is a good thing, I guess. So it says it's uploading it. Now, when I first opened this app and connected to it, it did actually say that there was a firmware update. I pressed download and I assumed that was it, but now I have rebooted it. It's actually uploading it to the copter. So I think it has got new firmware for the flight controller, the camera, and also the controller itself. So let's leave it to do its thing, I guess. Okay, that took about 20 minutes, but you can see that it says that the update has completed, so I'm just going to press that, and we're in! So, there you go. Yes, so let's take a look around the app. So we've got the map down the corner here, and I can also see the FPV feed. I can adjust the gimbal. Does anything happen when I press on the screen? So it says that it is locked. Oh, but look at that though. It's adjusting something. That's strange because everything at the bottom is saying auto, but when I tap on the screen, it's adjusting something. So yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Right, so what information have we got here? So we've got the battery information, just 87% as it was doing the update, but that's fine. Then it looks like we've got our control and video signal strength up the top. The number of satellites, 15, says cannot take off. VPU, it says the motors are locked. That's because I'm indoors. So we've got vertical speed and horizontal speed, and also distance in meters and also height in meters. You can change that in the settings. And then down here at the bottom we've got the exposure value, so I should be able to change that with the dial. So yeah, minus 0.7, and I want to keep that naught though. That was one of my complaints on the Mi 4K, as you can accidentally catch that without realizing. So then we've got, I think that is ISO and all of your other settings. It's all set to auto. We've got the SD card capacity, so I've got 32 gig in there, and 4K 30 FPS. So if we go into the video options, so you can see it's saying -3 there, but didn't I put it back to naught? Yeah, I put it back to naught for the exposure, but if I go into the settings, it's saying the exposure value -3 there, so a little bit of inconsistency. So we've got auto at the top, which is selected, and then we have got manual. So this is where we can manually change the ISO, but I'm gonna stick everything on auto, I think. And then if we go into the camera settings here, so video mode, and we've got lapse, so I guess that is time lapse. And then we've got format, so PAL and NTSC. We've got video size, so we have got 1080p there, but we've also got what looks like 2K and 720p. Interestingly, it's not mentioning the frame rate. What happens if I select 2K? Ah, there you go. So yeah, so we can do 2K 60 FPS, which is quite nice, and I imagine we can do the same on 1080p and 720p, 200 frames per second on 720p, but you can only do 30 FPS or 24 FPS when you are in 4K mode. But that is on par with the Mi 4K and the Mavic Pro, the first edition. I believe the newer edition does 4K 60. So what else have we got? Video quality, it's just got high, medium, and normal. I think high is 100 megabit. We've got the white balance. I'm going to keep it on auto, but we've got all sorts of different options. And then color, so we've got different color styles, but I'm going to keep it to general. But we've got F-log at the bottom, so that's going to be like a flat color that you can color grade later. And then we've got style, so saturation and contrast. And if I go back there, let's see what settings we've got here. So you can have a grid line. Some people like that. I'm going to keep that off. We can format the SD card here as well and reset all of the parameters as well. But yeah, I'm going to keep everything on auto, I think. So that is for the video, but what about the camera? So I'm gonna click the, no, is it that one that I need to press to go into the picture function? And then let's go into the settings of that one. Okay, so we've got auto on there, but I can select manual, and we've got the ISO and the shutter speed that we can change through there. If we go into the camera settings here, so photo mode, we can do a time lapse through there as well by the looks of it. Go back into there. So photo size, I'm not sure what's happened there, but nothing. It just says 16:9. Is that a bug? Oh no, there we go. So we can do 12 megapixels or 8 megapixel. Oh, I'm just pressing the wrong buttons, that's why it's quite tricky on a phone. So the photo format, JPEG, but you can do JPEG and RAW. So I'm gonna select that. I did actually change all of these settings already, but as it's done the update, it's reset them. White balance, auto, and color and style, etc. in there as well. And then we have got grid lines, and we can format the SD card from there as well. And that is the video and picture settings. So we have got general settings up the top here, and we can limit the flight speed. Now, funnily enough, it hasn't changed that, so I think it's 10 meters per second out of the box, but I've changed it to 16 meters per second. I think sport mode goes up to 18 meters per second, which I think equates to about 40 miles per hour. But in sport mode, I think you can't do some of the intelligent flight modes, so I thought, why not just make it 16 meters per second and stay out of sport mode? So you can limit the flight distance if you like. Now, I believe it is rated up to 5 kilometers, but that is in a clean area, so without any Wi-Fi or interference. And I believe it can do that, but I'm not into long distance stuff. I'll leave the other guys risking their channels for that. So we can limit the height. Now that was set as 120 meters, but just to check, it will go up to 500 meters. But of course, the legal height is 120 meters. And then you can see it says 30 meters for the return to home height. We've got a beginner mode, which will limit some of the certain aspects, and then we've got sport mode, which there's no button for on the controller. You have to do it through this part of the app, which I thought was strange. It'd be nice to have sport mode on a Switch, but there you go. So we can see the amount of magnetic interference, and then we can do a compass calibration. I'm going to want to be doing that without any cameras on though, because it can interfere. Then we can do an IMU check. We can set the failsafe to return to home, which is what we want, and then we can have precise landing apparently, so it should land exactly where it took off from. It takes a picture with that camera underneath supposedly, so we'll see if that works. And then we can update the dynamic home point in Smart Track. So I think that's for like if you have moved, if you're on a boat or a car or something like that, you just want to press that button and it'll update the home point. And you can enable backwards flying as well in Smart Track. And the reason that they have got that off out of the box is because there's no object avoidance, so it could end up hitting something. Then we've got gain and expo, so let me go into there. So yeah, you can change those options if you want. And then we've got some more gain and expo settings at the bottom here. I have to press there we go. So yeah, we've got different sensitivities. Look at that: ATI sensitivity, brake sensitivity, yaw distance, yaw sensitivity. Interestingly, I don't see an attitude mode. I think we can only do GPS, so I'm not sure what that's about. Maybe it's for when you're indoors or something like that. Anyways, let's see what else we've got. That was just the first page. So RC calibration, that is going to be calibrating your sticks. You have to turn the copter off to do that. Stick mode, this is something I'm interested in because I did a little arm of it and it wasn't right. So yeah, it says it does mode 1, 2 and 3, but mode 1 is actually mode 2. Looking at this, see, up would be your throttle, that's mode 2, so which one is mode 1? It says here the logic will be changed by switching. Are you sure you want to switch? Well, I have no option. So up, let's see, down, and then turn left, turn right, turn right, turn left, backwards. So I'm guessing here it looks like mode 2 is mode 1. Yeah, so I'll have to be careful about that. But those are the stick modes and don't seem to be quite right. Then we've got the 5-directional joystick that I talked about. So you can actually set it up to do different things. So in the up position, it will switch between the map and FPV. And then we can have the camera pointing down in the down position or have it pointing straight back up, a bit like how DJI have. And then we can have the battery information and self-check. So if I go out of there and then press up on it, you can see it will flick to the map view, and up again back to that view. And then if we go left, we've got the battery information. Go right, hello, we'd have to go left again, so yeah, you have to go out of it first, and then that is the GPS status, and then down, that should point the gimbal straight down, I think, yeah, and then back up, and then enter. We should be able to go into the media that is stored. So there's nothing on there, I haven't recorded anything yet, so that's probably why that's not doing anything. It's making a beeping noise, but nothing's actually happening. But anyways, let's go back to the settings. There are so many settings. Come on, how do I get out of that? I want to go back into settings. There we go. Right, so where were we? Yeah, so that was all of the joystick options, and then we can do a gimbal calibration and gimbal pitch speed, so it's set at 100%. I'm gonna leave it at that, but if it's a little bit jerky, then you could change that. Then we've got all of our battery information here, so number of cycles, the temperature, which is pretty cool. And what else have we got down here? So we have got the map information, whether you want satellite or standard. We've got our units, so I'm sticking with metric. And then we've got firmware update options or reset all of the parameters, and then maintenance mode as well. So maybe if you've got a problem or something like that. But yeah, that is all of the settings. And as I say, I can't see an attitude mode, and this is quite strange as well. When you are tapping on here, it's meant to be an auto mode, but if I tap the screen in a certain place, it's saying that it's locked now. Yeah, if I tap the screen in a certain place, then it definitely is making the picture lighter and darker. Interesting. But anyways, that's the app. Let's get and fly this thing. Okay, so I've done the compass calibration, got everything set up. We are recording, and the battery is at 93% because it's taken a little bit of time to get all of that set up. I'm going to do an auto takeoff, so let's go for that. So a couple of pumps of the throttle and it ascends. Let's see what height it's going to ascend to. So it looks like 4 meters. Look at this, we've got some blue skies. It is a fairly windy day though. It is gusting anywhere from 6 miles per hour to 10 miles per hour. The first thing I want to check though is what mode am I actually flying in. So I'm gonna come down on the throttle, and yeah, it's mode 1. So for your info, FIMI, mode 2 is mode 1 and mode 1 is mode 2. I'm not sure what mode 3 is. Okay, so let's see what the hover is like on this guy with those sensors. It's looking pretty rock solid to me. Now the Mi 4K has got 2 of those ultrasonic sensors, but maybe this doesn't need it. That is for height, of course. Seems pretty stable to me. Let's turn it around and let's get some high on. So it looks like the horizontal speed and vertical speed is backwards. So I'm just going up now. We've got 4 meters per second. And then we got 60, 70 meters, and 120 is the limit. So gonna want to watch that. So let's see what happens to the gimbal when I yaw around. Now, yeah, we do have a slight incline there in the geometry anyways. So what height are we at? 98. Let's go up to 120 and see if we can get away from that geometry a little bit. Okay, 120, and then let's yaw around. Yeah, we're just above it. Nah, not quite. Have a look down. Well, the gimbal seems to be behaving itself, which is cool. Just take a look at the ground, see what the dynamic range is like. Looks good on the phone. Can follow this traffic here. A little bit of break up, but I'm above myself, so there will be a little bit of a blind spot. That's completely hands off the sticks, and it's looking pretty nice. It's been a while since we've had skies like this. Alright, let's bring it back down and let's check out some of those features. Comes down really slowly. Horizontal speed showing as 2 meters per second, which is the vertical speed. So yeah, very slowly, not matching what the website states. However, I have to stress, this is in its beta stages. So let's bring it closer down. I should be able to see it. Yeah, that is descending really slowly. Yeah, just a 2 meter per second descent, but fair enough. Okay, we're just looking at the ground there. Let's lift him up so it does straight into the sun. Let's bring it back a little bit and then get a little bit of height on. So I didn't go through the flight features when I went through the app, because I'm going to go through some now. So we've got this icon here at the bottom right corner, and we can do waypoint, which I don't like because you're not in control of the aircraft, so I tend to not bother with that. And then we have got Smart Track Beta. So if I go into there, we've got 3 options. So we've got trace, so it says drag a rectangle around the subject, please fly in an open area. Yeah, so I'm gonna drag the box around me and then hit go. And I think what this should do is it should follow me but not actually come closer to me. Oh no, it is coming closer to me as well. So if I walk to it, does it push back? Yes, it does. So that seems to work fine. If we've got any other options on the side, is that I exit it? Trace has done. So now if I press the icon again and go back into Smart Track, we've got profile. So drag a rectangle around the subject, please fly an open area. Okay, so like 3 different versions of it. So it seems like it wants me to run in this direction or walk in that direction, but if I move back from it, yeah, it still does follow me. It does follow me still. So we can exit out of that. It says that it is done. So then if we go back into there and do smart track, and we've got lock. Okay, so if I press OK on lock now, and then draw a box around myself, and then press go. So is this the one where it's not going to follow me? Yeah, it doesn't follow me, but it tracks me. So what you can do, I think, is we've got a bar here, so I think it might start orbiting me. I think. Let's see. Yeah, that's what it is doing at 2 meters per second. That's pretty neat. That is definitely in DJI territory, that. And then we can go the other way around. It slows down and then goes the other way. Now these are gimmicks, really. They're not something that I really use, but if you want to use them, then they're there for you anyways. Can I make it stop? Yeah, there we go. So let's undo the lock and then see what other stuff we've got. So tap to fly, oh, I don't like that, really dangerous. We have got a droney. I just wonder if I've got enough space for it. So we can do a rocket. That sounds best, I think. So let's do rocket. Control the gimbal camera to make sure the target is in center view. The drone will fly upward with the camera pointing downward to shoot a video. In the meantime, please fly an open air, blah blah blah. Yeah. Okay. So I think I gotta point the camera down and then get in the middle. Press droney, do I? And then is it gonna do it? Please drag a rectangle around the target. Okay, I understand that. And then, no, that's the target. What's it doing? I've done that. Now what? Droney. Am I missing something here? Okay, right, go. That's what I was missing. 3, 2, 1. I gotta look up. Did it do anything? I don't think it did anything. Oh, there it goes. Bye. Yeah, let's stop that. Very good. Droney completed. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm more old-fashioned. I like to do the maneuvers myself. Oh, it looks like it's stopped the recording in that process there at some point. But yeah, what's our battery doing? Just 43%. Yeah, it's got a good flight time on it, this thing. Okay. Let's bring it down and see what else we can do with it. It really does come down pretty slow. Okay, what other stuff have we got? Spiral. Not sure I like the sound of that. It says set a central point and the radius of the drone will fly around the central point spirally. The drone will shoot a video automatically. Please fly in an open place, blah 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 blah. Okay. Please fly to the top of the center to set the center. I guess that's gonna be me. Please fly to the top center. Okay. And then please point it down at me again. I'm doing a horrendous job of this, but there's no instructions. It's all trial and error. Okay, so setting center, setting the radius, so fly away now. Really? Yeah, okay, fly away. To the point. And then spiral. Fly away to 3 meters, 5 meters, spiral. Does it like take a little while to start? Is it doing anything? Setting radius. Oh, go. Right, what's it gonna do? I have no idea. So it's just gaining height while at the same time doing a very slow yaw. Again, you know, if you practice stuff that you can do yourself. Oh, I can't control the gimbal when it's doing that. I don't like that. It keeps getting higher. Okay, let's stop spiral. The drone will exit. Are you sure? Yes, I'm definitely sure. Stop the recording again. Spiral mission completed. Not so sure about that. Okay. Shall we try the precision return to home? In order to do that, I need to go back to where I took off from though, which is here. So let's get a bit of height on. Let's take it out. Okay, let's hit return home switch. It's turning around so that it faces me. Looks like it's coming back pretty fast. Nah, 3 meters per second. So yeah, it's gone up to 30 meters, which I set it at. And now it's coming back.
Low battery. Please land ASAP
Low
to
battery.
avoid damaging.
So you get the vocal low battery. Good timing, it's just doing that. What are we at? 28%. That's probably quite conservative, I would say. So any of you that have got the Mavic knows that it gets to a certain point and then it looks for the object. In fact, me and my friend tried to mess with the Mavic and we moved the pad and it didn't know what to do, it just landed on the grass. But that's definitely not the area there. So I'm gonna come out of that mode. Luckily it comes out of it pretty quick. That's a fair few steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Precision landing, not quite, FIMI, not quite. Good enough, but not quite, I would say. Right. So let's go. Oh, is it still recording? Yeah, let's go into the options and let's turn sport mode on. Yeah, turn sport mode on. Okay. What did that say? It said something. In sport mode, 18 meters per second. Yeah, okay. Setting is not enabled in flight, so I think you have to land it to go into sport mode. Well, let's see. Okay, so let's take it out by those trees there, and then let's bring it around so that it's facing me. Let's see what speed it will pick up. So I'm going to be looking at the vertical speed, funnily enough. Does it follow the terrain? It does. That said 14 and I've got it selected at 16. I'll give it that. It's still got some work to do though, I think. By the way, this guy is pretty sensitive to the SD cards that you use. They say use a U3 class 10 or above, and all of my U3s would stop making files at 100 megabits, so I've had to bring it down to the medium, which is actually 60 megabit, and that seems to be fine and isn't going to matter because YouTube is going to butcher it anyways. And then the normal mode, that is 33 megabit, if you are interested. Low battery, please land ASAP. But what if I don't? Famous last words, isn't it? What happens if I point it at the sky and the ground goes dark and then I press on the ground? Does it lighten it up and overexpose the sky? Yes, it does. That's pretty cool, that is. I like that. Not sure what it's doing because it says the exposure value 0.3. I must have knocked it at some point. But yeah, I think, you know, it's got a few niggles, which I expected. But it ain't bad at all. And then when you put the price into the factor, it's telling me to land, what are we at, 15%. It's probably reasonable, isn't it? Wonder what happens though if I just sort of let it go out there, so it's just far enough away. We're on 14%, low battery, please land. I want to see if it's going to land itself or just land on the spot. So if I just look around here, low battery, please land. What are we at there? 13%. It's not doing anything, it's just sitting there. I've got it set to return to home. Send it up a little bit higher. I mean, the last thing I want is for it to fall out of the sky.
Low battery for RTH.
Okay.
May I fly carefully?
Okay, so it's saying the battery's too low and that it's going to return to home. What are we at there? 10%. It does look like it's overexposed the sky from when I was touching it.
Critical low battery.
Critical
Please
low
fly
battery.
carefully.
Is it gonna make it? Let's have a look. 9%. It really cuts it close. Ah, have I interrupted it there on its return home? Yeah, I think I did. I'll land it myself. I touched the controls and I think it stopped the return to home.
Using SIP in RTH mode will change flight route.
Yes, you are absolutely right. That's exactly what it did. All right, let me see if I can land it on the pad. Not quite. but there you go.
Low battery. Please charge ASAP.
Please
Low
charge
battery.
ASAP.
Please charge or replace. Low battery.
Please charge. Okay.
or replace.
Okay, I think that's enough of you. So there you go. That is my initial review and flight test of the X8 SE from FIMI. I think I really like it. It just needs a couple of changes needed in the software, and I think it'll be good to go. So I will link it in the description, and as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.